STARBORN. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show is called The Setup. And that is because yesterday we had a fabulous new moon at 6 degrees of Taurus. And Taurus is a fixed financial sign, and it's a very practical, realistic earth sign. And it was very, very powerful. This was one of the best new moons of the whole year. And the reason why is the sun was in Taurus, yes, at 6 degrees, but the moon, which was the new moon, is exalted in Taurus. That means that the moon is at its very best because it is well balanced. The moon represents our emotions and our homes and women and our moods and our feelings. And you know, sometimes those can go up and down and be rather volatile. But when the moon is placed in a sturdy earth sign like Taurus, it simply balances that out, and it makes us very sure of our feelings and in good control of them as well. And this new moon was not opposed or squared by anything, and that's because the sun and the moon were in Taurus yesterday, but there was nothing in any of the other fixed signs. There's nothing in Leo, Scorpio, or Aquarius. So, since both of the lights are so well aspected in the sign of Taurus, it simply means that you could be thinking about something a little pricey, or you could be wanting to concentrate not only on how you make your money, but what you spend it on, and also you may be thinking of how to invest your money and really make it grow over the long term. And the reason why is the sun and new moon in Taurus are well fortified. They're being trianed beautifully by a very powerful Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto is retrograde, but still Capricorn rules rewards over a long period of time, such as retirement funds or pension funds. So you might be thinking about those as well. And this is a wonderful time to set yourself and your loved ones up for success in one way or another. But some things will have to be reviewed in order to do the setup correctly. And that is because there are 4 retrograde planets right now. That's rather a lot. When planets go retrograde, it simply means you've got to go back and tie up loose ends or finish things first and really look them over and make sure that they're all correct. And so that's going to have to be done if you want to set something up really well, particularly something that pertains to financial matters, because Taurus is a fixed financial sign. And so we see that Mercury is retrograde in Aries, and Pluto is retrograde in Capricorn, Saturn is retrograde in Sagittarius, and Jupiter is retrograde in Libra. So there's a lot to look at. So you may want to re-examine or reassess your hopes and your wishes and your fondest dreams, but also your plans or schedules, or you may want to review the terms in a contract, and you certainly are going to want to re-examine your budget. And since Pluto is retrograde and it represents management in large corporations or government agencies, and it's trining that sun and new moon, it simply means that there could be changes in management or in policies now that you have to take into effect, because that can influence the setup of plans, financial plans that you have. So you do have to consider that. And before we can really get a setup underway, there's just one last thing that we have to be looking at, and it is because Venus is at 29 degrees of Pisces today. And remember, Pisces rules hidden enemies and things that are hidden behind the scenes or that we kid ourselves about. Since Pisces is at the fateful 29th degree, or since Venus is at the fateful 29th degree of Pisces, it is being squared harshly by Saturn in Sagittarius. And when Venus and Saturn are square or opposing each other, that can indicate a betrayal And so since that Venus is in Pisces at a fateful degree, I think the first thing that we have to do before we can set up our financial plans is that we have to know the truth about something. And it seems as if we will, because there can be a betrayal, there can be the exposure of an imposter with a well-kept secret that is going to come out in the open one way or another now, or there could be some omissions or deceptions that we are able to see now, and that's good, because if we're going to have some sort of setup that can really be successful in the long run, there are some things that we have to do. First, what are they? Well, first, we have to expose the truth. In other words, you can't be making plans if you don't have all the correct facts and information first. So we have to really work with an exposure of the real truth about things. And then we have to just face facts. Whatever those facts are, we've got to just face them right on. And so that means we have to face reality as well. And then, because Taurus is a sturdy earth sign, known for very hard work, we're going to have to work pretty hard. And finally, we are going to have to be totally committed to making something work, and that will require a great deal of dedication and effort on the part of you and I and everyone else. And that is because the correct setup of a plan or a policy, or getting the right management into place, or balancing your budget in a way to make something affordable, that is all required first in the setup of a plan so that it can be successful in the long run. And if you don't get the setup right, you're not going to succeed. That's why we really have to expose the truth now, and we have to face reality and work hard and be totally dedicated and committed. That is one thing that a Taurus is known for, endurance. And that is because they will, some people say that a Taurus can be stubborn. I would like to describe them as being very dedicated. And they can endure quite a bit in order to make their plan succeed, and they're willing to do that. And so generally that is to be able to provide well for their families. And so Taurus is the sign of the good provider. If we're all to follow along under this glorious full moon yesterday in Taurus, then we are going to have to adopt some of those traits as well. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, the sun and exalted new moon in Taurus yesterday were right ahead of your sun sign. And so that simply means, I bet you've got your mind on something a little pricey, or it can be that you are looking for a better job in order to make more money, nothing wrong with that. Or you can be taking on some extra responsibility in order to provide well for your loved ones. Well, all of that is absolutely great, so you can be motivated. And tomorrow, when Venus leaves Pisces and goes into your sign and joins Mercury and Uranus there, they will all be trined by Saturn in Sagittarius. That makes 4 planets in fire signs. And so there can be the possibility that there can be a second chance, or something that didn't quite work out the first time that may have a much better chance of working out now for you. Or it could simply be that a little earlier in your life you may have wanted to take one road, but it might not have been open to you, or that may not have been possible, and now you may get a second chance to do that. And so I think you could even go back to something that you would prefer better than what you're doing now, and that is really possible, Aries. So I wish you the best of luck, but remember, it's the setup that is so important before you actually get a plan or a strategy underway. I hope you keep that in mind. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, you absolutely couldn't have a better new moon than yesterday's, and that is because there was nothing opposing or squaring it. So that means you're in the driver's seat, Taurus. And also the moon is exalted in your sign, and so there's plenty of light on you right now, Taurus, and it's rather glorious sight. In other words, people are seeing you at your best. And it can also be that this is a time when you are really committed to setting up some sort of plan or strategy so that you can work hard to enjoy the good things in life and to share them with your loved ones. And so I think that you have a clear shot at something right now, Taurus. So if recently you've applied for a better job, you just might get it. Or if you have decided that you want to move into a nicer location that is a little bit more comfortable, and even if it costs money, it could be worth it to you, that might happen as well. Because remember, the moon not only rules our moods and feelings, but it does rule real estate. And so you could have your mind on that. Whatever your mind is on, it's focused on reality, I'm sure. And so just remember, there has to be an exposure of the truth that setting up a good long-term financial plan won't work if you don't have all the facts. And so I hope you concentrate on that, because it looks like you're in the driver's seat right now, Taurus. And so if I were you, I wouldn't take a gamble on anything. You don't have to. You can just go straight forward, and I think you're going to be successful. Congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, Mars is in your sign, and so that can make you rather anxious, and it can make you subject to one of your little faults, Gemini, and it is that your mind works so quickly in so many different directions that you can sometimes overcommit yourself and then not have the time to finish every single project. And so that's what you need to do now, is just slow down a little bit if you can, Gemini. And also, you sort of need to watch your tongue, because Mars can be a malicious planet, and you could be hypercritical right now and a little stressed out, almost as if you're trying to be in two places at the same time. And you know, I think there are some stressful conditions around you, and as long as you don't get too tired and you do let your helpful partners do your talking for you, I think you should be okay. And yet, Venus and Neptune in Pisces are squaring that Mars right now, so I don't think all of your relationships are working really well. And Saturn in Sagittarius is opposing that Mars, and these are two malefic planets. So don't ask for trouble right now, Gemini, because you might get it. And that's why it would be really good if you could be as quiet as possible and count on helpful partners, or it may be that some legal matter has to be reviewed, but just be as quiet as you can until that occurs, because you do have the law on your side this year, Gemini. You just have to be a little more patient at the moment. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, we all have to be concerned with setting up something that has to do with financial plans. But I think that what you have to do is concentrate on that to the exclusion of other distractions right now. And there can be plenty of those. Because remember, I said there are 4 retrograde planets. Well, 3 of them are squaring and opposing your sun sign, Cancer. So you are the person that's really got to go back to the drawing boards right now, because some plan, actually that's true for all 4 cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Some plan that you've had or some goal that you've had in your life is going to be thrown off right now. After all, tomorrow, Venus, Uranus, and Mercury, which is retrograde in Aries, will all be squaring your sun, which means somebody wants to break away. And if they didn't do it the first time, they probably are going to succeed at doing it now. So you have to be looking for a little upset or surprise in your life, because I think it's headed your way. And then Jupiter in Libra is retrograde and squaring your sun, and that means that a contract matter or some legal matter has to be reviewed, and it can present a challenge to you. I don't think you're going to get everything your way on it, so I hope you're ready to compromise, Cancer. And then that powerful Pluto, which is being trined by the Sun and new moon in Taurus, is in Capricorn, and it too is retrograde and opposing your sun sign. So you will be subject to budget cuts. And there can be changes in management, and that could throw you off a little bit. So that is why I think you yourself have to prepare for change. And yet the Sun and new moon in Taurus were sextiling your Sun. That simply means that you need to really concentrate on setting up some sort of financial plan right now. And if you only concentrate on that and don't let yourself get distracted by everything else that can be challenging you. You might be very successful if you're careful about that setup. That's what we all need to be. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when I think that you cannot afford to take a gamble with anything financial whatsoever. And the reason why is that very strong sun and exalted new moon in Taurus yesterday were squaring your sun sign, and there isn't anything in your sun sign. And because they are so dominant right now for the good, it simply means that it might be you that has your mind on something pricey, but you cannot afford it, Leo. You really can't, at least not right now. What you can do, though, is that you can think of new things to do or new ways to work with something so that you can set up a better opportunity maybe to make more money. And that's because tomorrow Venus, Uranus, and Mercury in Aries will be trining your sun, and Saturn in Sagittarius will be trining your sun as well. So that means you could work on something new, and eventually that could make you more money. But if you take a gamble, or if you are wanting to invest in anything right now, I urge you not to, because it would be too costly. Or remember, one of the things we have to do when we're setting something up is we have to face reality and expose the truth. And there may be something that you think you can afford, but once you learn about the hidden costs of it, that could put it beyond your reach. And so this is just not the time to step forward and do anything financial, but you could set up some plan that could get you to do something new, and maybe that could help you eventually. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, the new moon yesterday, which is exalted, and the sun in Taurus were both trining your sun sign, and Pluto in Capricorn is also trining your sun sign. So if you were going to set up some rather careful plan, or if you've already done that, you could be contemplating a rather handsome reward for being really, really careful and working hard. And I think there can be an investment that is actually worth a little more than you thought it would be, and this could be a good time to sell it. Or it simply can be that you could invest a little further in it if you wanted to, and that could help you in the long run. You may be making investments for your retirement account, so this would be a good time to do that. There still is the possibility that a good setup won't work if we don't have the right management in place, or if budgets are not balanced in order to make something affordable. Since you're very realistic and you are willing to work hard just like a Taurus, I think that you can be contemplating some sort of payoff, and I don't necessarily think you need the money, but if you wanted to go ahead and invest in something right now, this would be an optimum time to do it. So I think you can go forward because you would not be taking a gamble. It would be more or less a sure thing for you. So good luck. Or sell something. You could get the money back out of it right now, and it would be more money than you'd been contemplating. Lucky you. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is simply a time when I think you too are going to have to make some adjustments, and that is for two different reasons. One of them is that Mars in Gemini is trining your sun, so there can be somebody else that is a little stressed out right now and pressuring you to make changes. It may almost be as if you're trying to please everybody, and you almost have to be in two places at once, and either they do or you do, and that can create added pressure on you. Also, the 3 planets in Aries are going to be opposing your sun as of tomorrow, and Pluto in Capricorn is going to be squaring it, and that involves 3 retrograde planets. And so you do need to go back to the drawing board right now, Libra, and set up something a little bit differently. And that is because whatever you had been contemplating as a sure thing is going to have to be adjusted according to perhaps a betrayal that is revealed, or truth that comes out, or just because you have to look a little harder at facing reality right now. So I wouldn't make any big jumps right now. I would review a lot of things instead and make sure you've got all your facts right first. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, the new moon and a sun in Taurus are squaring or are opposing your sun sign. And so I think that there could be something real expensive that you've got your mind on right now, and it is not headed your way, Scorpio. And that is because you may not have the right setup going for you right now, or something is just more expensive than you can really afford, so you got to sort of forget it for now. If you are still desiring to go after it, you're going to have to set up a really good strategy or plan, or get the right people in place to help you. And you're going to need to really work on that, Scorpio. And I think that you can do that. But it just is going to be a question of how badly do you want something. I don't think you can afford it now. And when you actually find all the truth out about it, it might sort of turn you off. And so don't be disappointed if you don't get something right now, Scorpio. There could be better things on the agenda in the future instead. But remember, something big is not headed your way at the moment, or else you can see it, but it is beyond your reach and you cannot afford it. That could change in the future though. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, remember I said that one thing we've got to do before we decide to set up some sort of financial plan or strategy that can work out in the long run is that we have got to face the truth. And there can be an exposure of an imposter with a well-kept secret right now, or there can be some omission or betrayal or deception that does come out because Venus at 29 degrees of Pisces is squaring Saturn in your sign almost exactly. And so I think the first thing you've got to do, Sagittarius, is deal with the truth. And it's either something you've been kidding yourself about, or what I think is that it's someone else who's been putting a lot of spin or a lot of hype into something, or trying to cover something up. And so it might be a cover-up that is exposed, but that's the first thing you've got to deal with, Sagittarius. And then as Venus, Uranus, and Mercury are all in Aries as of tomorrow, trining your sun, you may decide to take a new path or follow others that are on a new path, and I would if I were you. That would be better than sticking with something that, that really wasn't as true as you thought it was, or a person who wasn't as true as you thought they were. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this new moon in Taurus along with the sun were both trining your sun yesterday, and that simply means I think there's money headed your way, Capricorn, and it can be really good money. So it might be that an investment is paying off for you, or it might simply be that you've got your idea or your plan together, your setup as such, for some sort of long-term investment that can pay off, or maybe now it's paying off. Maybe you had the setup correct even years ago, and now things are starting to bear fruit. And that would be wonderful. So I think there is something more valuable around in your life, Capricorn. And it can be because you planned carefully years ago for it, and now it's available. Or it can be that you have some extra money and want to invest in something that is well worth it and of good value and high quality. So I would do that if I were you, Capricorn, because I think you can afford it. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, just like Leo and Scorpio, you cannot afford to take a gamble at all because the sun and exalted new moon in Taurus yesterday were squaring your sun sign, which means that something is out of reach, that you just can't afford something right now, that it's either too high priced or else your budget isn't in the right shape yet to be able to afford it. And so it might be that you are deciding, well, you want something anyway, and all you need is a higher income to be able to purchase it. And so you might want to be going for a new job. And you may as well, Aquarius, nothing wrong with that. And Uranus, your ruler, is in the sign of new starts, Aries. And so that could be the way that you could progress toward something that you've got your eye on, or something that you want to do that you can't quite afford right now. So you've got to re-examine the facts, face the truth and reality, and you are also going to have to set up a goal or a plan a little bit better, Aquarius, in order to be able to afford it. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time that you may be looking at something that's pretty expensive, and you know, if you are looking to buy it, then I think you're going to have more money coming your way, and that is actually possible because the Sun and exalted new moon in Taurus were sextiling your Sun yesterday, Pisces. So I think there's more money around somewhere, either because you sell something that is worth more money, or because somebody gives you some money so that you could make a good investment, or it can simply be that the truth is out about something right now, and it might have been something you have been avoiding or kidding yourself about because Venus is at the 29th degree of Pisces in your sign right now, but it is being harshly squared by Saturn, and that simply can indicate a betrayal or the exposure of something that has been hidden, like a well-kept secret. Once that comes out and the truth is exposed and you can face reality and you decide to work very hard, I think that you could succeed. It's just that you've got to quit dreaming about something and set it up in a real practical way with facts and figures before you move forward. So you have to really have your mind not on your dreams right now, but on reality. And if you can do that, Pisces, I think there can be some more money coming your way eventually. So good luck. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show anytime you want by subscribing to it on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.